Yeah, so the pace would generally have settled a little bit as you turned away from jumping the last or the last hurdle or fence with a circle to go. You're climbing here, the pace drops. You want your horse to relax because you are then going to freewheel downhill out on the hurdle track or inside on the chase track. And this is probably one of the trickiest fences on the track. And it's an early one, especially in a 2 mile chase. A lot of speed on. Horses really need to know what they're doing because this one, with the freewheel down, it comes at you very quick. But you will see on the turn, the old course, you're jumping and turning. You have a very steep hill here that you're running downhill. You have a steep climb and a steep drop down over the third last fence as well. So it's a trickier track, the old course, than the new track. New course is probably more level. It's more stamina emphasis, where it's more speed on the old course, and that's what catches out the novices in races like the Arkle. Yeah, so people talk about the undulations at Cheltenham, but I don't think a lot of people understand, the significance of them, and especially when you're on a young horse. You'll see them here. There's 3 or 4 hills and dips, and there's one bump, if you like, just before this next hurdle, which when you're on a novice can knock him out of rhythm, can take you out of stride. They have a massive effect. When you're coming down here on the bumper, it can be mayhem because young horses are changing their strides and ducking and diving. They're everywhere because the undulations just take them out of their comfort zone, if you like. They're throwing them around the place. So it's on an experienced horse, you roll down here, you wouldn't feel a thing. But on a youngster, it's a bit like a roller coaster. It's at the point of the race where you're starting to bunch for position. It's really getting, the cream is coming to the top. You want to get into that position you want. You turn the corner, horses are racing, but every year Moscow turns to this ditch. He spotted this crazy long stride. So the first year, I went with him and he flew it, just got there. Second year, same thing again, went with him, he flew it and got there, only just. And then the third year, I went with him. Actually, I went with him, I changed my mind, and then I said, you're going, I better go with you. And he ended up in the middle of it, and I'm on the floor at the back. And the fourth year he came back when Eamon Lee, Jesse's assistant trainer, or head lad, he grabbed my leg as I left the parade ring. He says, don't go along at the ditch. So we put in a deliberate short stride here and got across it and won. But it's a very tricky fence, would catch a lot of horses out, just because it comes at that point, you swing off a bend, horses rush forward, they're getting competitive in a race, and horses can just take a chance, or can let you down if they're not up for it. Yeah, so top of the hill, facing the third last chase, third last hurdle. You've come away from the ditch, things have got competitive, you're getting into position, you're gearing up to go, but top of the hill, you're still a long way from home, as you can see. Horses tend to freewheel down the hill, so if you extend at this stage, you're a long way to go and you're a long way up the hill to the line. So it's important if you can conserve here. Finian's Rainbow, when he won his champion chase, Sizing Europe extended down the hill. And I knew if I went with him, I wouldn't win. And I just sat and waited on Finian's. Jumped the third last really well. Sizing Europe missed it. And I'm bang on his heels, having not used up any petrol. So it's a very important part of the race. If you can sit, it's important to sit. And it was probably similar, albeit I was under pressure on Champ. I didn't want to commit early because you have to respect that hill. You can see from here how far down it is and then how far back up it is again. Yeah, so at this point, we'd probably struggled a lot through the race. The ground was soft. JP had called me that morning and he said, it mightn't be a bad thing to go wide for better ground. And that was music to my ears because it was always better to get out on the fresh ground. You're on the second day using the same track, so you generally have a little bit better wider the ground. So I kept wide on Champ. He didn't jump brilliantly, but he was jumping okay without making any major mistake. And I was on the back foot, but hanging on, and I was trying to keep in touch without committing for anything or everything. So I'm nursing through the race. At this point then, at the back of the third last, Manila Indo and Allaho stretch. I know if I go after them, I'm not going to get to the line. So I nurse and I chase them, and you're doing it in hope that the front two are going to pay the price for committing so early. So just landed the back of the second last on Champ. I'm probably 7 or 8 lengths down on Allaho and Manila Indo. I'm chasing, but I haven't gone for everything because I'm still I'm in hope that the front two might stop, and if I commit early, commit everything, I'll stop as well. So I'm trying to close down without just throwing the kitchen sink at him. So I'm on the run to the last, and as we get there, I'm meeting on a beautiful stride, and I can afford the luxury of taking my eye off the fence to watch Manila Indo, to see how he operates over, and I can see he makes a mistake, and I knew straight away I have a chance here. Yes, so Champa's devouring ground from the back of the last, but I remember it was at about this point, and I'm 3 lengths down on Manila Indo and Allaho, and I knew it was in the bag with probably 100 yards to go. So a very strange feeling to be, as I said, 3 lengths down, 100 yards to go, and you have one in the bag. So it was brilliant. The crowd, only when I watched the replay afterwards, you hear the crowd going ballistic, but it was oblivious to me at the time. Oh, it's brilliant, and it's what you dream of. But it starts on the walkway in front of the stands, and the crowd that come here, there's nowhere else that, even at the October meeting, the November meeting, every winner is celebrated, they're cheered in, but it builds the whole way down, and then you take the turn and you come into the parade ring, and it starts to build as you come down here, and when you come through these gates, the place just erupts. You've now got 2 levels as well, so you've double the crowd, double the noise, double the atmosphere. It's, you know, it's what you dream of, it's what you want, and it's as I say, it means the most.